How are you, folks? Dave Brown here with the New Populist. Thank you again for joining me. A few days back, I made a video about the disappearance of the commander of the armed forces of Ukraine, Zaluzhny. He went missing. He skipped a NATO meeting back on May 10th, and people started speculating that perhaps he was injured or killed in a Russian missile strike. Now, I said in the video, I think he's probably alive. He's probably going to pop up in a few days, and we're all going to feel stupid for asking him the question. But I pointed out that his behavior was weird, and I don't think people were out of bounds for asking the question if he was okay, because he wasn't popping up. And then the Ukrainian media, they were saying, "Oh, he's fine. He's at a wedding," and then there's no proof that that wedding actually took place at that time. And then there was a video on Science Day, and it just wasn't clear where he was at, and it seemed sketchy. And again, I thought people were, uh, I thought asking the question wasn't out of bounds. But then there was a video, a short video, where he appeared alive and well. And I do think the video is real. I do think it's him because there's some people saying, "Oh, his eye color was not right. His hands were weird." I think it's him. I don't think it's a deep fake or anything like that. So he is alive. But I also said in the video, I think there's a lot of politics going on in the background that we're not aware of, because Zelensky and Zaluzhny don't really get along very well, and the Ukrainian government, Zelensky in particular, in my opinion, he's in many ways a puppet of the West. And of course, if the United States is paying the salaries for the Ukrainian government, essentially the Ukrainian government works for us. Um, there is no such thing as free money. If somebody gives you something, you're going to get something in return. And I think, very sadly, the Ukrainian government does do a lot of what the United States tells it to do. And one person in particular who has a big role in Ukraine, and you've heard her name now a million times, Victoria Nuland, who works for the State Department. She was on the ground in Kyiv back in 2013, helping with the overthrow of the government. And she left government, came back again. She testified that there were Ukrainian biolabs. So she's very deep into Ukraine. And Zaluzhny, unlike Zelensky, I don't think Zaluzhny is as cooperative with the United States as Zelensky is. Um, Case in point, he missed that NATO meeting on the 10th. Now, we're giving you all the weapons, we're deeply involved, and you just say, "I'm not going to go to the meeting, not going to call, no video appearance." That's called a blow off. That means that person's sending a message that I'm not playing ball. And if you look back over last year, there's other indications that Zaluzhny was not happy with the way things were going. It was reported that he wanted to withdraw from Bakhmut, but it was a political decision to keep troops there. He said in an interview months ago that what he needed to go on the offensive against Russia was like 500 tanks, like 30 brigades, something like that, basically an entire army if they were to be successful. So he was dropping these hints that he wasn't confident with going on the offensive against the Russians with what he had or what NATO would provide. And then again, so then we have that. Now we have this about the fall of Bakhmut. He skips out on the NATO meeting. And I'm starting to think that he's making his point. He doesn't want to be the fall guy if this whole thing just collapses. And again, I said before, I think there's something going on in the background politically. And something else recently happened that makes me think so even more. So, Klitschko, the mayor of Kiev, now back in 2013, before the government was overthrown, Victoria Nuland was caught in that phone call saying F the EU and discussing who they wanted to position to be the next leader of Ukraine. And Klitschko, she said, was not ready. He needs some more experience, have him on the sideline. So she knew Klitschko, obviously met him several times, spoken to him. And I'm thinking that perhaps Klitschko might be a person that she influences. So if NATO and the United States wanted to send a message to Zaluzhny that they're not happy with him blowing off NATO, not launching this counter offensive that Victoria Nuland said that we were helping plan, if they wanted to send him a message to say, hey, we're not happy with you, they really couldn't do it directly. They would need somebody else to do it. And in an interview recently, Klitschko on TV, he said, and I'm paraphrasing, that why is it that the people in Kiev are being disturbed by these missile attacks? Why not the people in Moscow? And he was addressing Zaluzhny, saying, what's up, man? What's going on here? And why would he do that? Is he speaking for himself, or somebody in his ear saying, hey, we need to put a little pressure on Zaluzhny because he's not playing ball, not showing up to the meetings. He hasn't launched his counterattack. He's lying low. We don't like this. We need to send him a message. Now, militarily, what would be the value of attacking Moscow? There's none there. And Zaluzhny would know that. His biggest concern isn't, sending a few drones at Moscow. It's defending his troops in battle right now who are being, killed in the tens of thousands. That's his main concern as a commander, the lives of his troops, not playing politics, not launching useless strikes in Moscow just to throw some egg on Vladimir Putin's face. That's his concern. So when I hear Klitschko say that, saying, why aren't she doing more to attack Moscow? That doesn't sound like him talking. That sounds like the wishes of someone like a Victoria Nuland, who would love to see, for political reasons, a couple of bombs or a couple of drones smash into a few buildings in Moscow and rustle the public up. Because, again, the United States always wants to create havoc in Russia, political unrest, and that might be a good way to do that. So Zaluzhny, I think, is alive. And I think that a message is being sent to him that he needs to play ball, or else he will start to be undermined by people in the country like Klitschko, who will call him out by name and accuse him of not doing enough, not winning the war. And so these next several months, it's going to be interesting. Sad, again, this is not a good thing, watching what's happening to Ukraine, but there's going to be that palace intrigue as people behind the scenes, Klitschko and Zelensky, Zaluzhny, and others, start to position themselves for either taking power or deflecting blame for the war going badly and trying to blame somebody else. And if we see these knives start coming out, that'll tell us exactly where the war is at, and tell us that it is not going the way for Ukraine. And I think over the next few months, we're going to see Russia continue to slowly creep forward. They were supposedly running out of missiles a year ago, and it seems like almost every day they launch a new attack. That's the biggest attack in the last several weeks or several months. So clearly, the Russian military industrial complex is running on all cylinders, and every prediction made by the wise and all-knowing people at the CIA and U.S. intelligence has been dead wrong repeatedly, and makes you wonder why anybody listens to them. The only people in the world who can be 0 for 1,000, yet for some reason still have credibility, the United States government and CIA, always wrong. So let's pay attention to what's going on in Ukraine. I think it'll get even more interesting politically moving forward if this war continues to go badly for Ukraine. So that's all. Pay attention, see what happens. Well, that's it for now. If you are new to my channel, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.